When it's Friday night, there's nothing to do. Start a new show and you suck like glue. What I binged this weekend.
So, welcome to What I Binged this weekend. And what I binged this weekend, you may or may not have heard of it, but it's a little thing called Heroes.
The new one? The original?
The original.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, the new one? Well, half,
by original, I mean all the seasons.
But we really only recognize 1.5 of those.
You might. Okay, so interesting thing about me is when I first started watching the season, the show, I didn't start with season 1 because I didn't have that channel when I was younger when it first came out.
Yes, and there was no thing called Netflix.
There was no thing called Netflix.
It was called a video, Hollywood Video.
Or Blockbuster.
Or, yeah, you could rent. You could rent them.
You could rent them.
You could also get balloons because they had balloons for the kids.
And so I didn't watch the first season, didn't watch the second season. I actually came in like halfway through the third season.
Did you go back though and rewatch?
Yes, I did. Okay. That's what I did.
Okay.
So I actually started watching like halfway through the third season. And I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. And I really, really enjoyed it.
So Hayden Panettiere's like character growth. I don't know.
She is. I've got a joke there.
I've only seen a few episodes. I never watched.
You need to.
Well, they know talking. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Shh. And so I went back and I watched all the seasons, and I realized why so many people. I realized the differences between the seasons. You know, like the first 2 and then the rest.
Yeah.
And I still really like all of them.
And I think that's probably because like. There was a comparison I was going to make. Okay, so it's like if there is a book that was made into a movie. So my friend and I went and saw Angels and Demons, the Dan Brown book. He had read the book and loved the book, so he hated the movie.
Yeah.
I had never read the book, watched the movie, and really liked the movie because I had nothing to compare it to. So like your whole thing of, I watched seasons 3 and 4 and it was really cool. Because you hadn't seen, you didn't have anything to compare it to. Whereas, the first season...
That's what made him fall in love with it.
Yeah, the first season is so good.
Yeah.
And, really, really creepy. And you shouldn't watch it when you're home alone and, 14 years old and the lights are out.
I don't know what she's saying.
Because Siler is creepy. And he was, my favorite part of the show.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Yeah, he really is. And...
Yeah, he really is.
He really is. And that's the thing. Is... with Heroes, I really, really enjoyed the characters because, let's be honest, the plot devices ended up, the plot devices across all the seasons are kind of cliche. It was just the characters made it really intriguing.
I mean, it's a character show.
Yeah. That's what the hook is what the characters do. And so you've got people like Noah Bennett, who's an asshole, but justified asshole. You've got his
to protect people.
You got his adopted daughter Claire Bennett, played by Hayden Panettiere. You got
penitentiary.
I don't know.
She has a little.
She's in Nashville now.
Yes, she is.
And she's married or is engaged to I think Vladimir Klitschko.
He sounds evil.
He's actually a heavyweight boxing champion of the world. He's Ukraine.
Okay.
/
he's
German.
European.
Yeah.
Because all Europeans.
He's a really good boxer. Point of the thing is what I'm trying to make is I really enjoyed Heroes, and going back, and I think that my 3 big takeaways from Heroes is it's a character show. The plot, you can kind of guess some of the things that happen, or a lot of the things that happen. But it's the characters that make it really interesting. The powers are really freaking awesome because they come up with things that you didn't think like.
Yeah, and most of them aren't stereotypical. I mean, some of them, obviously you have your teleportation, you have
healing, you've got flying.
Yeah, but there are those that are a little bit more out of the box that aren't
Siler's application. No. His original power is to understand and have a hunger for understanding things.
Oh.
And so, like, that's why he loves clocks. Is it's
Yeah.
gears and stuff.
That's
But once he understands, he goes and he's able to use it.
Yeah.
He understands where they're getting
Because
it.
he learns. Doesn't
And
he
it-
learn the different powers?
Yeah, he learns the different
It's
powers.
been like a really long time since I
Yeah,
watched
when
any
he
of it.
did telekinesis, he killed some dude, cut his,
Yeah.
busted his head
And
open,
then ate
pressed with
his-
his. No, didn't eat it. That was a common misconception. He played with their brains, figured out how
Wait,
their
so you
brains
could,
were
like,
formed.
harness other powers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
By learning.
'Cause I'm just
By
like, I
learning.
understand. That's
He
it.
un-
That's his
yeah.
power.
No, like
no.
what
Okay.
he does is he
Like,
Yeah.
you figure out how it
saws-
works.
he scalps people with
Yeah.
his mind, and then
Cool.
And that
Goes
that
through his
It's like
application.
Professor X, kind of.
No.
Okay, whatever.
And so that like his application of telekinesis
That's
was
cool.
really awesome.
Yeah.
It wasn't
I understand.
something that I thought before, because a lot of it is, oh, you pick someone up, you throw them. Oh, you pick something up and you throw it. You push someone, you pull someone close to you. And yeah, he did that. But then, it was like, here, let me dissect your brain. And that was really cool. And then you had, a Haitian. They just referred to him as the Haitian. His real name was like Claude, I think. His character name was Claude. But like he was a knoll kind of thing. So like when you were around him, you couldn't use your powers. And if you took his blood, you were able to, if you injected it to someone, they wouldn't be able to use their powers. And so they stored IV bags and they were hooking people up that they didn't want to use powers. All sorts of cool stuff like that.
Awesome.
And, the powers were really cool. And the last thing that I think was really cool was how much they took in the shot composition and the styling of scenes from comic books.
Yeah.
Like that was a huge thing. And, that was so awesome because you get sections where, the screen would pause and it would fill up and it would look like a comic book, and then page would turn or something and you'd see something new. And I really, really digged how much of that they took from it. And there were a lot of comic book shots that I was just like, oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah. I think the Heroes, because it started, you can check this, I think it was 2008, wasn't it?
I want to say 2007, but I'm double
I
checking.
got it.
They're all going to erase my phone's way over there. Well, because this show came after Lost, which is one of the greatest probably characters.
2006.
Okay, so it was Lost was 2006 as well, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they came out right around the same time.
Yeah, so it's interesting because like I think Heroes and Lost are probably two of the best character-driven shows because they did such a good job of dealing with that big of a cast.
2004 is Lost.
Whatever. Okay, so I still got the 2-year gap. I just was
very
She was really
I
close.
was just different 2 years because I was thinking 2006, 2008, but whatever. But because a lot of shows like nowadays have big casts, but I don't think they deal with them as well as those other two shows that they're trying to match up to, because most of them now they're like, oh, okay, well, here's our big cast that we just introduced, but then they spend too much time talking about these three people, and then the other ones are kind of like, well, what happened to them? I think that's my biggest problem with Sense8.
Yeah.
Was why I didn't really get into it, is because they didn't do a good job of melding such a big cast together and keeping them all connected throughout the whole thing. Even though they were all like mentally connected, but it was just like, oh yeah, they are, okay.
Yeah.
But it is like a really good show. I rewatched it whenever I got Netflix a really long time ago, but they didn't have all of the season, or they didn't
Now
have
they do.
all of the episodes in the season.
Oh.
So for season 4, they had like the first 5 episodes, and then there was a big gap, and then you could watch 15 up. And I was like, that didn't make any sense. So I
Now
do
they've
want to
got all of
rewatch
them.
it, and I haven't watched the new series yet, but I don't know. I think like it is a good show if you're looking for something that's comic booky, but is not. I mean, like it's still comic booky, but not like your stereotypical. It's definitely darker. So if you like Arrow, you're probably gonna like some of the stuff in this realm, because it does have kind of that more violent feel to it.
Definitely.
I mean, like Hayden Panettiere sticks her fist into a garbage disposal, and then jumps off of buildings, and it's disgusting.
There's all sorts of stuff.
Cool.
The first season's pretty brutal. Like,
Yeah,
like
it really
it's
is.
really brutal,
It really is.
but it's good.
And then on that, you did mention, the series that they've just come out with, and it's a mini series that is currently on the air. Only 13 episodes.
I thought they were gonna do it was gonna be a
13 episodes right now. They might get a back
depending
nine,
on
but
depending on how far. Which, from what I've seen or heard, I think a lot of people are watching it.
I think a lot of people are watching it. I don't know how many people like it, but a lot of people are watching it.
They're still watching it.
And I've watched the first couple episodes, and you can actually catch it on Hulu.
Yeah.
They're doing it on Hulu, and it's really I really enjoy it. There's kind of a new cast. They've brought back a couple old characters. But my biggest complaint so far with this new one is the main antagonist that you see
Is not
Siler, but it's these two powered humans whose kid was he did have powers, but he ended up dying in this terrible accident. 5 years from the beginning of the series.
So like X-Men conflict.
Yeah, and so they're hunting down
Between
as many of them to kill them.
And non.
Yeah, kind of. But specifically with these two, and so they're going around trying to kill people, and I just think, I think the fact that they've been doing this for like 5 years and hunting people down and all that stuff, and killing them and all that, because their son died, I think that's a little extreme.
Yeah.
Like you would think
just the two of them.
Just the two. I think that's a little too much. Like it's just slightly too unbelievable for me.
Yeah.
It's like you say a little, but your eyes went up like this high.
It's like
maybe a little more than a little.
It's like I sit there and they're so angry about it, and it's like, you know what? That's what therapy's for. And then on top of that,
would make a very interesting TV show. Heroes Reborn, but the antagonist sit in therapy.
Sit in therapy, but like, it's just slightly unbelievable to me, and that's the only thing that like kind of puts me off, because I'm sitting there and I'm like, even if you don't go to therapy, you got someone who has claimed, that he guided this massive explosion that killed a bunch of people.
Air battery's about to die.
Yeah. I don't understand why they don't go target him.
Yeah, it's like, take out the guy that did it. Don't destroy an entire, species of human.
Yeah.
So how many fists in a garbage disposal would you give it?
I would give it 7 fists in a garbage disposal.
So 3, they cut off 3 fingers. Wait,
yeah.
I can't count. Cut off 4 fingers. Yeah, that was right.
4 fingers.
I held up the wrong way.
So that I would give it 7.
What about the original series?
That was the original series.
What's Reborn?
Reborn so far, I haven't finished everything yet because it's still on the air, but I'd give it a 6. Yeah.
At least watch the first season.
Definitely watch the first season. It's awesome.